Arrested Development first hit the music scene with songs like Tennessee, People Every Day, and Mr. Wendell. And their inspiring message continues on. Join me, Jermaine Sain, when we speak with Speech of Arrested Development.
We can't stop. We're going up now. We can't stop. We're going up now. And we don't.
When we speak.
When they talk about their past, or they don't prefer talking about any of their past accomplishment or their past. How do you usually feel about that situation?
I don't really feel either which way about it. I do prefer that people understand that I'm still living, we're still doing music. So it's tough when you have a band that's has this unique experience of our first album doing so extremely well. You know what I'm saying? We sold 4 million albums off of 3 years, 5 months, 2 days in the life of, and that was a hard accomplishment, a huge accomplishment. But it's tough because then when you do other albums that don't do the same, people sort of want to always talk about one thing. I don't mind doing that, but at the same time, I want people to, remember that there's still things, exciting things going on right now.
Right. Definitely right now with the development.
Yeah.
One of the things, I would assume over the years that there's probably been plenty of doors that have closed for you.
Definitely.
But in that process, do you feel that with every door that closed, there was another door that opened?
Without a question. Now, it doesn't always happen in the same genre or the same medium. So in other words, if an entertainment door closes, then sometimes a personal life where it might be a marriage door or a spiritual relationship door opens. And that's the thing about life. There's so many different meaningful parts of our life that we need to pay homage to, and during this pretty short journey, that when people get too lopsided or too one-sided, they forget about all of these other things that are just as important. You know what I mean? In fact, our new single, one of them, I Don't See You at the Club, is about that. It's talking about the whole fact that there's a lot of substantial things that happen in our lives that aren't just about what you do in the club. You know what I'm saying? Especially as artists, that tends to be sort of the thing. What song you got in the club? He said, I don't see you at the club. I said, I don't see you at the bank. People gotta live their life and do their thing. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. He said, I don't see you at the club. I said, I don't see you at the bank. People gotta live their life and do their thing. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me.
I mean, is anybody checking?
It's very rare. But I think that's what I strive to do. Like, to me, I listen to a lot of music. I love music. And I always try to find where can I get in and what can I say that hasn't been said already in this particular way. And that's what I try to do. So my whole sort of point in life is to try to add to the conversation as opposed to take over the conversation. That's been my whole thing.
So with that said, though, do you think that as artists that it's their role to really bring an awareness to change? Like in the earth or in the world or in your life? Or
I think so. And the reason I think so is not because, it's just our responsibility. I think it's because artists tend to have a deeper radar on things that are going on in life. We think deeper in a spiritual way. We are more emotional in a good way and a bad way. But we're just more in tune. And so because we are, a lot of times I think that it just makes sense for us to make music and express ourselves with that depth of understanding or that in-tuneness as part of our presentations. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I've always been curious because I agree with you on that statement. But I've always wondered, what is it about artists and artistry that allows artists to be so in tune? It's like, is it because that a lot of people go through a bustle every day on a 9 to 5? Or is it because they have their up times and then have a lot of down time that allows them to do that? Like, why do you think that is, that they're so in tune with those type of things?
Honestly, I think it's a gift from God. I think that before we even create our first tune or our first piece of art, that God has given us a acute awareness of things on a deeper level than your average person. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I think that that's something that God has already planted in us before we even know we're going to be artists. And music does reach, in my opinion, more people than politics ever will. And it goes over walls and seeps through cracks that religion, politics, and other things keep those walls firm, whereas music is able to get through. I like that.
Wow. So I guess it's because it really kind of has no boundaries. Whereas when you're dealing, when you're a politician,
exactly right.
Like you said, you have to kind of You may not make everyone happy, but you still have to comfort the people that you didn't make happy.
That's exactly right.
You know, and in music, you can be like, okay, well, that's my message. That's what it is.
That's my service. Wow. And all of them are servitude. You know, all of them are services to the world. And music, though, just I think is my realm. Now, I have liked the idea of speaking. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's so freeing because then I can have a 45 to an hour speech. I'm saying what I feel, and then people can disagree. They can do whatever they choose, but I don't have to necessarily cater to that, whatever they feel, unless I want to.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about social media.
Yeah.
You've been fortunate enough to be in the music industry even before social media.
Very much, yeah. So
how do you think social media, the whole social media age, has hindered as well as benefit your career?
I think that social media hinders because it sort of cheapens the artist's relationship with fans. You're so accessible. Your every word can be tweeted or put out in an instant, and that can cheapen the experience. It can make people not really appreciate what you actually do, and also I think it can make a phenomenal piece of music or art be relegated to whatever week or day it came out. And the next week, because of the sheer amount of stuff going through social media, the next week is irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like last week it was the thing. Or sometimes I've noticed in my career, like we were on CNN a couple of years back. Actually, we did Greener and a few other songs. And we were the trending topic on Twitter for an hour. But after that hour,
it was over.
Wow. And so I've learned that social media has made it such to where, yes, you can capture the attention of the world, but it's also going to leave pretty quickly. And so to juxtapose that, back in the 90s, if we performed in the Grammys, that was talked about for at least a week. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 2-3 weeks. And it was a big deal. You were going to do a story on it. And they do a story on it the night of the Grammys. It would be released a month later. And it still was relevant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just things lasted longer. They made a bigger impression in a sense.
So how do you manage to still keep a hype or a relevance in social media then?
Make sure we keep flooding the market with more stuff.
Okay.
So we keep releasing more and more music. And then recycling the stuff we just released, because none of it's old. You know what I mean? It could be a month old, but to some they think it's old, but to others they haven't even heard it yet because they just weren't around when it was tweeted or when it was put out on Facebook. So I mean, we just keep flooding the market with more and more stuff. So at the least, we're on your mind.
Most people that I know is on foot, living green naturally, it's all good. I recycle cans of paper goods in my hood, son. No trash mouth, cause trash is better in the dump. And the people go.
In all the lessons you've learned, what's the greatest lesson you've learned about yourself that still surprises you?
That we are pliable, meaning we are bendable, and we won't break. If we don't resist so much to change, that we won't break. We're pliable, we're bendable, we're reshapeable. And that to me is the beauty of God and how He has created us as His creations. He created us to be pliable and bendable. And because of that, we can do a lot of great things that we don't even understand. But we got to surrender. And surrender to the process.
Wow. Well, Speech, it's been great speaking with you. I mean, I would have never, years ago, I never would have thought that I would ever be meeting you. You know, after singing Tennessee and wanting to leave Tennessee and all that.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Meet you, you know. So I guess for me, if I had to say a lesson I've learned thus far for me is that, like my motto says, that death and life really are in the power of the tongue. I remember growing up and there were so many things I used to say I wanted to do.
Right.
And now to be living in some of those things that I spoke, not really knowing every exact piece, but to now see it coming together, the things I did visualize and speak, even as a kid, like I realized like, wow, you really can
do it.
Speak things into your life.
Without a question. And what I like to add to that, your surrender to what you speak is inspiring, because I look at how the ways that I know you, and you and your friends did the up singing. And for whatever reason, you did that. Obviously, you aspired to do it, did it, sent it out. Well, that was an action that you surrendered to. And then, again, for Act a Fool, you did a piece to that, and I saw it, and then you're at the music video show.
Right.
And then we're doing an interview.
Right.
But just being surrendered to a process, to the process of just, I'm just try it and do this.
Yeah.
I think if more people would surrender themselves to that instead of the fear of it may not work, what if they think this, what if they,
Yeah.
You mess up a possible journey that you can go on that's incredible.
Hi, my speakers. This is the moment in the video that you can click the subscribe button